Good morning. This is Scott and Shot. Been a while since I came at you guys, but here I am. I've been watching too much news the last few days. I'm sitting here watching these Democrats resist. The will of the people, the results of this, amazing historic election of Donald Trump's. And if you've been watching these people, have you seen what's really going on? The Dems don't want to do nothing. What do I mean? They're not work at all. They're not at work at all. People, check it out. They don't want Doge. They think that's a waste of time. They don't want to show up to work. That's why they're all at home and we got empty buildings in Washington. They want an open border. They don't want to close the borders. They don't want to monitor the border. They just want it open. When they let criminals come over here, they don't want them deported. They let them out of jail, so they don't want to arrest them. They don't want nothing to do with them. They just want to let them do what they want. They want to let regular prisoners out of jail. They don't want to convict anybody like in New York City. So they don't want to convict anybody to go in jail or stay in jail. They want to let them out too. They don't want to. They don't want to help out our allies. They don't want. I mean, what do the Dems want to do? It seems like everything that they're supposed to be doing, they're not doing. They don't want to govern at all. I think they're just sitting at home, being. I mean, what else can I say except sitting at home, being homos and doing cocaine, and worried about somebody's transgender rights. I mean, what do these Democrats? That now you're seeing why this country got so messed up, people. They literally do not want to do anything. They just want to sit there and just watch as they do nothing about nothing. Isn't that weird? How American is that? They don't want to show up for work. They don't want to keep prisoners in jail. They don't want to convict anybody to go to jail. They don't want to even keep them in there. They want to let them out, bond out, and not even worry about them in jail. You know, it's like that Epstein who they arrested. He hung himself in jail, so they're not even making sure that when they go to jail, they're safe. I mean, these Democrats are about nothing. They don't care about teachers teaching your kids anything. They don't care about I don't see what they care about except for freaky transgender rights. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about men taking over women's sports. They don't want to do nothing about that. So what do the Democrats want? They just want lawlessness. I mean, because they don't want to do nothing about nothing. They resist every little thing. And the reason why they haven't been resisting since they've been in there because they're just not doing nothing. Joe Biden, since he lost the election, he's on vacation. Have you heard from Kamala? She's on vacation. Who's governing this country? Well, it's not being governed anyway because they're doing nothing. They don't care about nothing. They don't care about nothing. I mean, think about that. People tell me something except for transgender rights that they really care about. Well, they care about letting prisoners out of jail. They care about migrants more than they care about our own citizens. I mean, I would be able to love to come on here and say that I've been seeing the Democrats grow up and try to change their ways. But I mean, when you watch the news, they resist on it. They don't want to govern nothing. And a little bit they want to govern, they govern so irresponsibly and so weirdly with their freaky little weird minds that they got that the whole country's messed up, people. And Donald Trump can't get in there fast enough, man. I mean, you got Joe Biden pardoning men and people that have killed and murdered multiple people, children even murdering children after they're raped. I mean, so they're raped and murdered. He's letting those kind of guys out. He's letting them get off of death row. I mean, what more do I mean? What more? What? How much more disdain do we have to see from the Democratic Party for the Democratic voter, to say, you know what, enough's enough. I mean, somebody come on here and tell me what they're governing when they don't want to govern nothing except a transgender's rights to go into women's sports and mutilate his body and to introduce that onto our kids. You know what I mean? I mean, they don't want to govern nothing. They just allowed. I mean, how many kids are going to school now with from 100 different countries that have 180 different languages? How can a school pay attention to our kids and try to teach our kids when the whole time you're there, they're worried about if your kids are transgender or homo, or if they can find a translator for that one kid or five kids that's from some country that has a language that there's probably not a translator around that speaks that language in every little school that's in every little district and every little state and every little county. I mean, so they're not teaching our kids. They don't want to teach our kids. That's obvious when they get out of when the majority of kids are getting out of high school with eighth grade level math and arithmetic, math and reading. I mean, so what do the governments want? What does the Democrats want? What do they want? They want chaos. They want lawlessness, and they want this country to be tanked. I mean, because they're not governing nothing. They're not governing nothing. Nothing's being governed anymore. I mean, and they're resisting on everything. They don't even care if we go in there with Doge and cut the fat off. Trim down the fat a little bit on some of the spending. They don't want that. What, like I said, what except for what I just said on transgender rights, what do they want? They want nothing. They don't want to do nothing. They don't even want to show up for work. 80% of all the government officials, people that work for our government, are not in their office in town in Washington, D.C. They're at home, working off their computer, doing a line of cocaine, and probably making a porno like they did in the Capitol. That's what I see, man. Resist, resist, resist. Well, they're not resisting people. They're just not governing, and they haven't been. Joe Biden hasn't been governing. You all know that, and obviously Kamala Harris hasn't been governing. So who's been doing this what they think is governing, which is just forgetting all of our laws and our Constitution. Let's just resist everything. Let's let rapists out of jail early. Let's reduce the punishment for murderers and murder rapers. Let's not gather up criminal aliens that are here that have committed the heinous crimes over there, and they're doing it here. They don't want to do nothing. Let's let cities burn down. Let's lie about hoaxes. Let's lie about intel agents and laptops. So that's their platform. We like to lie. That's all we know how to do is lie. That is their platform, because they're not governing nothing. That's why this country's hurting right now. They're not governing. They're not teaching. Nobody's learning nothing from the government in power right now. It's like the 2020 election after they cheated for Joe Biden to become president. It's like they're just a bunch of little children running around. They're not running around. They're not even going to work. These people are so immature. They don't even know the value of showing up on the job. I know some people can work from home, but those are usually people I thought that did their own thing, not working for the government. COVID is over. They're still propagating COVID, warning about another pandemic, which that's got to get you worried a little bit, because who knows what they're going to do there. You know that Democrats do that. They allowed that to happen to us. I know it. Look at the disdain they have for this whole country, and tell me that that's far-fetched to think that the Democratic Party wasn't involved in that COVID being let loose on our country. Look at all the things they've done. Listen to all the lies that they've told. On every committee that they had to go in front of to justify or to ask about what they're doing when they're doing nothing. When Mayorkas goes on TV and lies to the American people about the border being safe, all them lying about Joe Biden's coherent. If I wasn't a citizen of this country and we didn't have adversaries that were scary, it would be really quite funny. The level of immaturity that we have in the Democratic Party, but it's not funny. It's funny, but well, it was funny, but it's not funny no more. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen so many little retards in our government ever. It's the whole Democratic Party. Not one of them has a brain cell that's competent. Because everyone was in on this propagating the shit that they just put onto this country for the last 4 years. Every last Democrat is guilty of treason, guilty in hate crimes, guilty in trafficking of children and human trafficking. Breaking our Constitution, not enforcing it. Joe Biden didn't enforce the Constitution right out of the gate after he put his hand on the Bible and said, "I swear to uphold and the Constitution and defend the Constitution of the United States." He hasn't done it. Let's just get them. They're good at giving free money away to like people who went to college. He signed a contract to a guy who just became a lawyer to get out of paying his bill, his loan off. That's what they do. They give out free money, and they want to propagate transgender rights onto everybody, behind and to our own kids behind our backs. That's the only thing I've seen them do since they've been in office. Try to give up free money to buy votes, and everything else that comes out of their mouth is hate speech, as far as I'm concerned. Everything that they ever say is divisive. It's divisive. I'm going to bring this country together, Joe Biden said. Now Donald Trump's talking a little bit. He's talking a little bit divisively already again. But you know why? It's because they're resisting. Just like they've always done. And it's not resisting. They don't want no governing. They don't want a competent government in the United States. They don't want a government that governs and gets things done. If they wanted things to get done, you people honestly think that if our government wanted things to get done, it wouldn't get done, especially in a modern society. They don't want to get done, people. Especially the Democrats, they have sown the biggest division in this country and tore down this country in 4 years. Which I couldn't. I never thought you could tear down a country so fast, as great as America in 4 years, but they did it, and and they were on a roll, man. I would like to saw their game plan for what they wanted to do that was evil next, because they're not governing in nothing except for giving away free money and trying to worry about 1% transgender rights, and talking to our kids about sex when they're 10 years old. I mean, so remember that, people. I don't like to come out here and say this stuff all the time, but I can't. There's not one time I can click on the news and the TV without seeing a Democrat up there talking divisive rhetoric that's against the will of the people, especially after this election. I mean, they don't want to govern people. That's why they're not showing up for work. Do you honestly think those people give a shit about this country? They'd be working from home. They did. If something major happened in this country right now and they needed to find people to get something done, at the phone, well, they're all home. They're not even in Washington D.C. How can we go to war with the country? I mean, I'm not saying go to war, but if there was, how can we win a war if the Democrats were in office if they can't even show up for work? I'm just saying, people. It's just it's ridiculous. They can't show up for work. They don't want to secure our borders. They don't want to get criminals out of here. They don't want to keep them in jail. They don't want to. So they don't want. They're about nothing. They're about nothing, and they haven't governed in 4 years. Where's Joe Biden on another vacation? Oh, he's probably sleeping in some nursing home. They just won't tell you. Where's Kamala Harris? She's sitting here on some podcast and some interview saying she's not going away. Well, she went away. Where's she been since she lost? Where has the vice president been since she lost the election? She's already gone away. The only one that doesn't know it is her. Yeah, I hope all you people understand what I'm talking about, man. I mean, we cannot, I never was, but you people cannot ever let yourself be fooled again to believe like Shapiro, one of these smooth talking little Democrats. They all believe the same ideology. They were all in on everything that happened until she lost the election. Shapiro was talking the same stupid shit. All of them, every one of them. Now they're gonna hide criminals from us that are illegal. They're not gonna cooperate with our federal government. I mean, all right, people. This is Scott and Shot. I hope you're seeing the hypocrisy of all this, and the double standard, and definitely the two-tiered justice system we have in this country. And you know what, people? Donald Trump has to go after these people that propagated all these lies that cost him the election last time. The 51 intel agents, top intel agents. We're talking like the top of our government lying about that laptop to the whole American people, to all the American people. We're talking about a Russia hoax that was propagated by the Democratic Party that turned out to be 100% fake. That means that Russia hoax was a direct assault on our sovereignty. That was insurrection. When you create a hoax to exile and impeach a sitting president, that is a 100% made lie. That is so much big. That is real insurrection, people. Not a protest. They got a little out of hand. That they didn't. That Nancy Pelosi did. She was in charge of the Washington D.C. police. She did nothing about it. It was all set up. That is true insurrection right there, people. They tried to topple an elected president by the people because they didn't like him. And not one person got in trouble. Not one person got nailed for insurrection. Now, I was at my stepfather's house last night, and he was like, well, we got to move on from that. We got to come together. Well, how can you come together when they're still doing the same shit right now? They're still resisting. How can you come together, and how can you change that kind of evil behavior, that kind of traitorous behavior if nobody gets in trouble? How can you keep that from happening again if nobody gets in trouble? I mean, they're trying to get Donald Trump in trouble. He did nothing. They're worried about a deal he made with Stormy Daniels. Man, those kind of deals happen. Like if you screw a girl when you're married, those kind of arrangements happen all the time. But they didn't like it happening with Donald Trump. I mean, all kinds of rich people do those kind of arrangements when they have sex with people, when they're cheating on their spouses. They don't want to get out. They do it all the time. So, here they are worried about Donald Trump. I mean, but they were going after Donald Trump for doing nothing. Not just Donald Trump, his whole family. His whole family and every one of his friends that helped him get elected. But he got elected without cheating. I mean, so everything they did is insurrection. Everything they did was traitorous behavior, and nobody got in trouble for it. Now, me and you would have been in trouble for it. So it's not that it's not retribution. He's going after people that were committing traitorism in this country, who were trying to down our country. I mean, with lies and you saw what happened. That is called insurrection, people. I mean, to the highest regard it is, and nobody got in trouble. We would have been in trouble. Me and you'd be. They still got people from January 6th sitting in jail that did nothing for years. So the Democrats just going to walk away after people have been sitting in jail for years for nothing, for walking into a building that they allowed to happen, that they opened the doors to. I mean, are you so? I got in an argument with my stepfather last night because that's not retribution. That's making sure that these criminals that behaved in this criminal manner are held accountable. It has to happen, people, because we can't have this happen again. We can't be having a Democratic Party invent a hoax that's fake. We can't have them lying about 100 laptop, saying it wasn't real when it was real, to stifle because they right before the election, so Joe Biden didn't look bad. We can't have that, people. We can't have it. It cannot be allowed to happen. Joe Biden and the whole Democratic Party should be in a lot of trouble. I mean, everyone that went on TV and spewed their lies when they knew it was a lie, there's got to be some kind of trouble, right? There has to be. There has to be, people, because I don't like seeing such a two-tiered system of justice. I mean, what's good for me is definitely good for you because you represent me. The person that represents me can do it, but I can't do it. I mean, you need to think about this, people, because it's just not right. People need to be held accountable. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll never come together in this country with the Democrats until I see them get in trouble. You know what would be nice? It'd be nice to just see one person of character in the Democratic Party, one person that actually has that realizes they're wrong and has character. I mean, real character, real self-character, and would come out and say, yeah, what we did was wrong. And I'm going to own up to it. But not one will. Not one of those little worms has any kind of pride or character or any kind of humanity in them that would to come out and say that what everybody already knows. Obviously, they just don't want to do nothing about it. I mean, so I've been caught in my life when I was a kid and all that, doing something. And when you're caught, you're caught. And I say, I did it. But not one of these, not one senator that's a Democrat, not one congressman that's a Democrat, not one congressman has the character to come out and say, yeah, we fucked up. I mean, not one. And that tells you all you need to know, people. I mean, they're just a corrupt party full of corruption. Everything they do, I mean, when they get out of bed and don't go to work, from the time they get out of bed, they're corrupt because they can't even show up for work. I mean, so anyway, this is Scott and Shot. You guys have a great day, Scott the Great, and you guys have a good one, man.